Straight from New York Comic Con, we've got our first official look at the upcoming Scooby-Doo adult animation spin-off series. Plenty to cover here, but before we get into it, don't forget to let me know down in the comments below your thoughts so far on Velma. At the Velma panel at New York Comic Con, creators and star Mindy Kaling dropped a whole bundle of info and first looks on us. While the entire first episode was screened to the audience, a bunch of stuff was publicly released too. We got the first teaser trailer, character posters, new plot and character details, and casting information. And though the full episode hasn't been made available just yet, we do have social media reactions to it, so we've got plenty to take a look at in this video. Firstly, we'll take a brief look at the trailer. Taking on a classic horror trope, it opens on a dark and gloomy night as a serial killer is on the loose and stalking Velma Dinkley's house. Velma narrates a text that she's sending to HBO Max to share her disgust at them making a genre-bending comedic origin story of Judy Jetson, and telling them if there's one thing the internet agrees on, it's that you should never change anything ever. I hope you die. After sending off the text, Velma quips, well, at least Judy's still white. Then an unknown caller calls her from inside the house. Aware of the unoriginality of the trope, Velma makes a few quips before realizing the seriousness of the situation. This is an incredibly brief trailer, and more so than anything is used to give us an idea of the meta, self-referential nature of the show and its humor. It looks set to make a scathing commentary on reboots and toxic fandoms. This seems like a great concept, though it is something that I'm feeling might be starting to wear a bit thin, particularly with both Scream 5 and She-Hulk having done this same shtick this very year. That said, this trailer is very funny, and I love the snide remarks and jabs Velma throws in here, so I'm thinking I'll be down for this. One thing I can say I really like here is the animation. Instead of going for a more traditional look, Warner Animation has decided to put a bit of a stylized spin on the style and design. It feels very clean, very modern, and very angular, and like much of the Warner Animation stuff at the moment, feels like it could have been cel animated. Visually, it is incredibly similar to Warner's terrific adult animated DC series Harley Quinn. We're not too sure just yet if this is an actual scene from an episode or if this is something that's been built specifically for the trailer, but it seems like an interesting way to kick everything into gear. There's a couple of cool references in here too. Of course, there's the Judy Jetson name drop, which could possibly point to a wider Hanna-Barbera universe in the series, and there's some graffiti on Velma's mailbox that reads, "What is Scooby?" a reference to the so far absent Scooby-Doo. Of course, the rest of the Mystery Inc. gang are absent from this trailer as well. However, at the panel it was confirmed that they will be along for the ride throughout the series, with 3 character posters revealed publicly, giving us our first looks at their new interpretations. We have posters for Shaggy, aka Norville, who'll be voiced by Sam Richardson, Daphne, who'll be voiced by Constance Wu, and Fred, who'll be voiced by Glenn Howerton. Notably, we have another couple of race-bent characters here, with Shaggy being depicted as African American and Daphne as Asian American. With Velma now being South Asian, it just kind of makes sense to mix it up with the rest of the gang as well. Given that the Mystery Inc. gang's personalities and stories have never been inherently tied to their race, I think this is a really interesting spin. One odd thing to note here is how Fred appears to be in an almost completely different animation style than the other two, almost as if different key arts or concept forms have been used in this posters. It's very strange. Another thing of note is Shaggy being called Norville here. Of course, it's always been known that Shaggy's real name is Norville, with Shaggy being a nickname. It was revealed at the panel that the series will explain the origin of the Shaggy nickname. We'll also get the origin of Velma's famous catchphrase, Jinkies, which, yes, she does drop in the trailer.
The only word I had to describe my disgust is Jinkies.
We also finally have confirmation that Daphne is in fact this character that we've seen in previously released concept art, so we definitely know that we are in for a very different take on all of these characters. Revealed during the panel was a little more info on the show, with creators calling it an origin story, and Kaling noting, it's a high school show with the events and the dancers, in addition to it being a murder mystery. Obviously, Daphne and Fred are popular while Velma is an outsider. Seeing them come together is fun about the show. It was also noted that the show is absolutely not for kids, saying it's closer in style to series like Harley Quinn and Rick and Morty. During an after-event interview, Kaling and show creator Charlie Grandy noted that the show would follow the traditional Scooby-Doo Mystery of the Week format, while also focusing on teen issues and featuring a series-wide connective story arc. It was also revealed that Scooby-Doo, who obviously doesn't appear in any of the promo, will not appear in the show at all, with Grandy saying this.
So when we were thinking about what made it a kid's show, what makes it an adult show, the dog, Scooby, is what really seemed to, we couldn't get a take on it. That was like, how do we kind of do this in a fun, modern way? That coincided, it felt like what made it a kid's show was Scooby-Doo. That coincided with Warner Brothers Animation saying, hey, you can't use the dog. So we're like, great, this works out well.
Though Scooby won't appear in the show, voice artist Frank Welker, who has voiced Scooby since 2002 and traditionally has voiced Fred since the original 1969 series, does appear on a list of supporting and guest stars that were announced as well. This list also includes the likes of Jane Lynch, Wanda Sykes, Russell Peters, Melissa Fumero, Stephen Root, Gary Cole, Ken Leung, Cherry Jones, Weird Al Yankovic, Fortune Feimster, Yvonne Orji, Soraya Blue, Nicole Byer, Ming-Na Wen, Shay Mitchell, Debbie Ryan, Kula Vilaisak, and NBA All-Star Karl Anthony Towns. Thanks to an IGN article, we even got a brief rundown of the episode preview that was screened to audiences. They wrote, the preview begins in the girls' locker room, sex sells according to Velma in the preview, where Daphne and Velma are there together when a body falls out of one of the lockers. The corpse turns out to be another student named Brenda who is missing her brain. The mystery to find Brenda's killer will unite crime-loving Velma and Daphne, who was Brenda's ex-best friend. Daphne's parents, who are cops, interrogates the two girls and gives Velma 24 hours to solve the murder. Fred is also introduced as a vain individual who has a disease where he can't recognize people who aren't hot. He is apparently dating Daphne, but Brenda was his plan B in case she was too clingy. Shaggy appears last as a friend with a crush on Velma and later joins the investigation to help clear Velma's name. And yes, Shaggy does appear to be a bit of a stoner in this version. While the gang's quest to find Brenda's killer leads to sketchy drug dealers, dismembered body parts, and forbidden romances, this certainly appears to be a mature take on the Scooby Gang, leading towards adult animated comedies than the original cartoons. Thanks to Twitter, we've also got some reactions to the footage from those who were there. Watched the first episode of Velma at New York Comic Con, and it was even more insane than I expected. Saw the first episode of Velma at New York Comic Con, and it was hysterical, not for kids. Screened the first episode of Velma at New York Comic Con, and I am definitely intrigued. If you like DC Harley Quinn, this will be up your alley, and neither show is for kids. Just saw the first episode of Velma, adult cartoon about Mystery Inc. origin story. So f***ing funny. Just saw the first episode of Velma, subverting everything you know about the world of Scooby-Doo. It's a brand new and very adult take on the character and her universe that's raunchy, gory, and quite funny. Mindy Kaling leads a terrific voice cast. This is a lot of fun. Just watched the first episode of Mindy Kaling's Velma, and it's decently funny, but LMAO, people are going to complain the hell out of this. It's a total reinvention beyond what the Harley Quinn show does. Gorgeous animation though, way exceeded my expectations on that front. We watched the first episode of Velma, and guys, it's so funny, my eyes were watering and the whole room was erupting with laughter. Cannot wait to see more of this show. This is really everything I was hoping and expecting from this show, and to me, it sounds really, really fantastic. Great animation, great humor, interesting new takes on characters. I am really keen to see more. We haven't got an official release date for Velma just yet, but it's set to start streaming on HBO Max in 2023. But at that, I want to know your thoughts so far on Velma. Are you excited for this one, or are you dreading it? Join the conversation and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to see me talk more Scooby-Doo, check the links on your screen.